Over the next couple of weeks, I want to cover a few topics relating to charities. So I thought it would be useful to start off by talking about how they are constituted. At the outset, I would like to introduce you to OSCR. This is the Office of the Scottish Charity Regulator, and they have an excellent website where you will find a great deal of useful information. OSCR was set up by Act of Parliament in 2005 and has 5 specific functions. However, the overall aim of OSCR is to give the public confidence in the Scottish charitable sector. So let's take a moment to consider what is a charity. In order to be accepted as a charity and entered onto the OSCR register, the organisation must pass the charity test. It comprises 2 elements. These being that it is set up only with charitable purposes and also that it provides a public benefit in achieving those purposes. So what constitutes a charitable purpose? On the screen you will see a list of charitable purposes from the OSCR website, and I've highlighted some of the more obvious purposes that most people will relate to, and these would normally be included in the charities governing document. You'll be starting to see that there are a lot of complexities in setting up a charity. You therefore need to ask some basic questions, including whether charitable status is right for you and your organisation. So let's move on. What are the 4 main legal forms for charities? You will see these appearing on the screen together with a note of the regulator. The most common one in our experience is the charitable company, typically a company limited by guarantee, because it is easy to set up and to manage. A charitable company is much like any other company except that the articles will reflect its charitable purposes, and the trustees will be the directors of the company. Like any other company, a charitable company is a legal person and so can transact in its own name and hold title to property. And it is easy to set up subsidiaries so that trading activities can be undertaken in a tax-efficient manner. But one of the drawbacks is that one option available to other legal entities, namely receipts and payments accounts, is not available. The company must have at least 1 member, but you have the option of a single or 2-tier structure. You could have a charity just run by its trustees, or it could be a charity that has trustees and also a body of members. The registrations at OSCR and Companies House are completely separate, and so a company can cease to be registered with OSCR but continue to exist. However, if required, the company can also be struck off the register at Companies House, but bear in mind that OSCR may impose certain conditions because the company owns charitable assets. The Scottish Charitable Incorporated Organisation is a new format, and we've not yet seen many of these being set up. They are similar to companies, but they're regulated solely by OSCR and are therefore more flexible. There are alternative structures, and one of the commonest that we see is the trust, set up by a trust deed and containing the charitable purposes. The drawback of a trust is that it is not a legal person, and as such transactions are in the name of some or all of the trustees. An unincorporated association which has been set up as a charity is very similar to a trust, and you'll see that the coloured lines are the same as the previous slide. However, in this case you can have both members and trustees. This is a huge and complex subject, and I would recommend that you have a look at the OSCR website, which will give you a lot more information in good plain English. This is a huge subject and one that we could not really do justice to in just a couple of minutes, but I hope you found it useful. I am Alan Long from the Long Partnership, making life less taxing.